Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something tiny, something that holds the key to, well, our entire digital world, and believe it or not, maybe even global stability. It's this wild story of incredible foresight, super complex tech, and some serious high-stakes geopolitics.
I mean, just think about it for a second. What really runs our modern world? You've got your phone, your car, global finance, AI, all of it? It all runs on this invisible foundation. But the crazy part? The very heart of that foundation is all concentrated in one single specific place on the planet.
Yeah, we're talking about the semiconductor, the chip. But it's not just some component, right? It's more like the digital nervous system for our entire civilization. And without it, our modern world just stops. It absolutely would not function the way we know it.
So, how did this happen? How did one tiny island, Taiwan, become the absolute center of this incredibly critical technology? Well, I can tell you one thing, it was no accident. This was all part of a plan, a deliberate, decades-long national strategy. See, back in the 70s, the Taiwanese government decided to shift gears, investing huge amounts in education, in research, in infrastructure. They created these amazing tech hubs, like the Hsinchu Science Park, which basically became a breeding ground for talent and innovation. Okay, so you might be thinking, why can't other countries just do the same thing? Well, it's not that simple. Building a cutting-edge chip factory, they call them fabs, is one of the most ridiculously complex and expensive things you can do on this planet. We're talking about a level of precision where a single speck of dust can ruin everything. You need to master insane machinery that almost no one can make. And you need this whole ecosystem of talent that honestly takes generations to build up. And right at the center of all of this, at the very heart of Taiwan's dominance, is one company, TSMC. And they came up with a business model that completely changed the game. So here's how it used to work. Companies like Intel did everything themselves. They designed the chips and they made the chips. But TSMC came along with this revolutionary idea. They said, look, we'll be a pure play foundry. We won't design anything. We will only manufacture chips for other companies. And this just unlocked an explosion of innovation. Suddenly, all these fabless companies, think Apple, Nvidia, Qualcomm, could pour all their energy into just designing the absolute best chips because they knew they had a world-class partner in TSMC to actually build the things. And the result of that model? Well, you're looking at it. Taiwan, mostly because of TSMC, now controls more than 60% of the entire contract chip manufacturing market. Just let that sink in. That's a staggering amount of control in one single place. Okay, but wait, it gets even crazier. If we narrow it down and look at only the most advanced, the most cutting-edge chips, the ones powering the next generation of AI, supercomputers, your brand new smartphone, Taiwan's share jumps to over 90%. 90. That's basically a monopoly on the tech that is literally defining our future.
So as you can imagine, this kind of industrial power doesn't just stay in the world of tech. It has completely transformed Taiwan from just a manufacturing hub into a critical and really sensitive piece on the global chessboard.
And that global reliance has led to this concept called the silicon shield. The theory is pretty straightforward. If any conflict were to disrupt Taiwan's chip production, the shock to the global economy would be so catastrophic, so devastating for everyone, that it actually acts as a deterrent. It's a shield, but it's not made of weapons. It's made of microscopic transistors. So you end up with this massive geopolitical paradox, right? On one hand, you have the world's biggest economies, the US, its allies. They are all deeply dependent on Taiwan's tech. But on the other hand, Taiwan is facing immense political pressure from China. So control over these tiny little chips has become the central battleground in the tech rivalry of our time. Which, of course, leads to a very serious question. What would actually happen if this whole thing, this critical supply chain, just broke? Okay, remember the chip shortage during the pandemic? How it totally crippled the car industry and made it impossible to find a new game console? Yeah, that would look like a minor inconvenience compared to this. We're talking about a supply chain shock on a scale nobody has ever seen before. No exaggeration. It would be like a domino effect ripping through the entire global economy. It wouldn't just hit one industry. No, car manufacturing would grind to a halt. The supply of new smartphones, laptops, gone. All that amazing progress we're seeing in AI, it would just stagnate because the advanced chips it needs would disappear. Even the expansion of the internet, the cloud. It would all be choked off. A truly systemic shock.
Now, this kind of extreme vulnerability, this dependence on one small island, it has not gone unnoticed. It has been a massive wake-up call for world powers, and it's kicked off a global race to control the future of this foundational tech.
So now we're seeing this wave of what people are calling tech nationalism. You have the United States with its CHIPS Act, the European Union with theirs, Japan. They are all pouring tens of billions of dollars into building their own chip factories at home. The whole mindset is shifting. It's not just about what's cheapest anymore, it's about strategic security. But here's the catch. Just throwing money at the problem isn't a magic fix. You can't buy decades of expertise overnight. Building just one of these new fabs takes years and tens of billions of dollars. And trying to replicate Taiwan's entire ecosystem, estimates say it's going to be anywhere from 35 to 65% more expensive. So this whole push for self-sufficiency is probably leading us to a future where tech is more fragmented and more expensive for all of us.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really critical question to think about. As every nation races to secure its own chip supply, are we actually building a safer, more resilient world? Or are we just fracturing the very interconnected system that powered our digital age for decades? The answer to that question, well, it's going to define the next era of technology and maybe even global power itself.